Sorry if my voice gets a little iffy this episode, we'll see. I had an idiot child moment where I tried to drink water and it just went down the wrong pipe, and I'm like, oh, and I just like, I'm just spewing water out, and now my like voice feels like stretched or whatever. Blah. I've had like a few minutes of recovery, but it's like, I can't just sit here all day and wait. So we'll see how I do. Such a rare occurrence, but every time there's like a moment of panic, and then you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I've been a person forever. I need water every day to live. How do I just forget how to drink sometimes? Like, very occasionally. Oopsie, pressed F instead of E. I'm back to the old me that wastes my shit. Alright. This is kind of cool looking. There's just a hole in the wall, but usually when there's a detail that specific, it's because you can do something in there, but that does not seem to be the case. It's kind of a farce that I ever put points into stealth.
Time to clean area estimated at 6,549,852,132,184 minutes.
I guess by putting points into stealth, I'm just kind of hedging my bets that like one day I might like just need to stealth through a compound or steal something in order to accomplish a goal. But I'm definitely not interested in using stealth all that much in the overworld.
Customer, all germs and contaminants have been neutralized.
Part of it's just there's just so many enemies, and they're also not especially hard. And while it might be more, it might technically be like the ideal path forward to do some kind of stealth attack. It's just the setup is too long. Like, it just kind of makes it. It'll just make the playthrough just kind of even more slower paced a little bit. I don't know. I need like more incentive, perhaps. I did watch Andrew play the first planet for like a little bit, which is a part of the reason why I noticed that there was a front door to that first area that I had not been finding until then. Whoopsie doodle. And what specifically, you can go to Andrew's YouTube channel if you want to see him play the game. He actually already beat it. One of the advantages of just streaming is that he didn't have to edit anything, because he was just streaming the entire thing and then just leaving the VOD on YouTube and giving it a part number at the end. But also, if you only play one game on your channel, you can beat that one game a whole lot faster, if that's your style. I think about that stuff sometime. But you can check out his playthrough if you want to. YouTube.com/thesadgames, which is also the YouTube channel that we started together in 2011. Before I started my solo channel in 2013, and then kind of slowly transitioned to that being my main thing eventually. But he was playing a melee build, at least at the beginning. I saw him beating people to death with the melee weapon. And he would sneak up on people and just one-shot them with a stealth attack, and I was like, Jesus Christ. That seems incredibly powerful. But doing that for an entire open world playthrough kind of sounds like a pain in the ass. Just having to sneak up on that many people. For me, the issue is just that stealth is at its best in a designed level that's designed around stealth. Whereas just being in an open area and just sneaking up on people over and over again isn't inherently as entertaining as like stealthing through a Dishonored or Splinter Cell level, where the idea is that it's like a physical level for you to solve like a puzzle. Oh, that book was not an interactive thing. I didn't read it. Look at him with his funny hat. I picked up a nice hat. I'm one of the people that sides on the idea that like I like stealth in stealth games, but I don't like stealth in non-stealth games. Like, it's either the core mechanic of the game, or it's usually like an underutilized and underserved mechanic. or even if it works, it's usually not nearly as interesting without the entire game being built around it. I did use stealth in Oblivion though when I played that. Like 15 years ago at this point. That was cartoonish though, because you could have a stealth bonus added to the attack damage of your, you could add it to the attack damage of your bow. So I think doing stealth attacks with a bow in Oblivion did like ×6 or ×8 damage, which was hilarious. So you just kind of stealth up, and you didn't even have to do real stealth work because you didn't actually have to sneak up on the people. You just had to be in stealth mode and then shoot across the level at them. And it was really funny how you would just destroy people like instantly. And like they never really stood a chance. I'm surprised the vermin is a reoccurring weapon. I thought it was going to be a unique one. But it is not. Let's see. You have a 400 damage melee weapon, and you don't have a melee weapon. Shears. Double. Officer's thingamajig. There we go. Melee is always one of the first things to... generic hunting rifle. Oh, that's... oh, you're right. That's probably my hunting rifle, the one that I was using before. Well, boy, it had some low DPS, but... wow. Like, my weapons got exponentially stronger. It's kind of a bummer because I like the gun, but like, the fuck? How do you ever find a use for something like that? I might just give up and use it automatic rifles the rest of the game, even though I don't like them because they're not that satisfying to use. Just spewing damage at people isn't that exciting compared to like lining up headshots and like doing one aimed shot at a time. But like the guns just don't seem to be particularly balanced by their own measurement. Like the DPS is hilariously high on these weapons. And my DPS on a hunting rifle is probably even lower than they say it is. Because that's if you're just spewing your shots at maximum speed, but the whole point of that kind of gun is to have to like stop and aim and be careful. So I'm probably taking even longer between each shot than they intend. Making it thoroughly garbage. Well, I found the other side of Stellar Bay. I think we're about ready to go inside. Can't get around this box. That's the kind of place where if this was Dark Souls, there'd be a little message on the ground calling you fat. Just joking about the fact that the player looks like they'd be able to fit there, but they can't. Ah. I've had a drink of water, but it just hasn't cleared this.
Concentrated amount of scum present ahead.
Ah, my people. My people. Gross. Always gross. Hey everyone.
Sir, please, I need your help. I can pay.
I like money.
Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh, I just know a raptidon is melting him with acid as we speak.
It's more dissolving than melting.
That is not helpful.
I mean, if you think he's melting right now, then it's too late. So, whoops. Your child is missing? Where'd you last see him?
Oh, I just knew you were a good person. Agnes, I said, this is the man to save your little Tucky. And I was right. He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders, the toxic sulfur pools, and poisonous plants, but he didn't listen. Please, won't you go and find my boy?
Why would Tucker run away?
He's been pining for an adventure. Says he's tired of living cooped up behind the walls. But he doesn't understand how dangerous it is out there. I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. I just know one's ripped his arm off and is gnawing on his sweet little fingers. He should have listened to his mama. I promised I'd keep him safe here with me.
Where would he have gone?
He's been listening to those awful broadcasts that the iconoclasts put out. I begged Sanjar to put a stop to them, but did he? No! And now I just know my boy's run off to Amber Heights. That is, if a Mantiqueen hasn't spooled out and eaten his entrails for breakfast already.
You're so specific with these details. What were you saying about the iconoclasts?
Those low-life degenerates, leading innocent boys into a life of danger. Oh, they make it sound so exciting, like it's noble to risk it all out there, fighting for the greater good. How noble is it to worry your loved ones? Not at all, I say. But still they preach their sermons of anarchy and rebellion to anyone who listened. If they weren't holed up in Amber Heights, I'd knock them all upside the head.
Where is Amber Heights?
That old settlement, southwest of Stellar Bay. I don't know which is worse, the thought of my son shacking up with the nutty iconoclasts, or that he never made it. Sprats could be nesting in his rotting body alongside the road as we speak. Or maybe marauders got him, pulled all his teeth out, crushed him into their drugs and made him snort them. Oh, the things that could happen to my sweet baby.
She has an incredibly specific and morbid imagination, and it's impressive. How old is he, by the way? I feel like the subversions here are going to be is that it sounds like some little boy, but that's just how people talk about their kids indefinitely sometimes. Whereas he's probably of the age that he could be joining these groups and so on and moving on with his life. Did you say there was a reward involved in this request?
Well, I guess I can't ask you to leave the town walls for free. It is deathly dangerous out there. I got some bits saved up for a rainy day. I'll give you every last one if you just bring my Tucker back to me. I won't even be mad at him running off. You tell him I won't be mad.
I'll help you find your son.
Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. I'm sure he made it that far. I just know it. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
The iconoclasts are stealing your boy away. Is that Amber Heights, maybe? There's a few places that could be Amber Heights. I went up this way. I think he's probably he's likely either already at Amber Heights or he's already dead. So I'm probably gonna ignore this quest for now until I'm ready to head back out of town. Just doesn't seem like I want to head right back out immediately. Oh fuck! I'm so sorry.
What do you think you're doing?
Nothing at all.
Just don't make more paperwork for me, alright?
I like free experience. I'm betting that the difficulty gets harder every time you do it. I gotta snap back out of being in wasteland mode when I get to places like these and don't just mindlessly loot everything I see. Woohoo. No! I've reduced my reputation with Monarch by 1%. Let's try not to do that anymore, huh? Sorry, everyone. Just, you know, lawlessness and all that. It's... get addicted to it. the yacht club vendor discovered? I don't see it anywhere. So it's funny that you say I discovered it. I guess I entered like the radius for it.
Right here.
It's amazing how much kind of choking on water can like really have a long-term effect on your voice for like a while. Apparently it's been like a half an hour and I'm still like not great. It's the type of thing you don't fully notice if you don't have to like specifically talk for your job and you're like, oh cool, I could just be intimately aware of how long it takes to recover from this. Sebastian Adams.
Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in a raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails?
Ah.
You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts?
Why? You know I can kill the animals too, it's easy. Why would I want any of that?
I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested. So I thought maybe I was onto something.
Who's Celia?
She works for Sanjar at MSI. She's also Stellar Bay's biggest collector of canid incisors. And I should know, because she buys them from me.
And about Mr. Pickett.
He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always real interested in our monsters. Mantiqueens, especially.
Have you seen a mantiqueen?
Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them.
Why was he interested in mantiqueens?
Who wouldn't be?
People who value self-preservation, Sebastian.
Now that just sounds like a fancy way to say boring people.
Where have you seen a mantiqueen?
Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett. But I haven't seen him in a few weeks. To tell true, I'm starting to get a bit worried about him. Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him. Help him out if he's got himself in trouble. Fair deal?
Uh-oh. Sure, I can keep an eye out for him.
All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here, and head past the abandoned ruins. Last mantiqueen I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Could be Mr. Pickett still out there too.
I'll see what you have.
Oh, good. Celia hasn't come by in a few days, so I haven't sold much.
Oh no, Mr. Pickett. I don't want really any of these things. Gross. I can sell shit to you, because this game works that way. Where everyone will buy everything and nobody has any kind of restrictions. A nice hat. What category is it even? It's not a weapon. High damage values, these are not. Yeah, I'm gonna go 500 or bust. It's either 500 or nothing. Except for these, like, special items that I keep around out of some sense of obligation, I guess. Yeah, it's a hat you can actually wear. Gives you some leadership skills. And it's just kind of generally silly. It's also pristine, making it still not worth that much, but worth something. I mean, I don't think I'm really going to use it. .24 is my highest armor helm. Yeah, I don't think I need any of these. And that's, yeah, this screen is for off-camera management. God damn, my numbers are getting up there, though. Right, armor mods. I kind of forget about those. This is one way to cut down my weight, is to only keep one of each mod. Because mods do add up. But I don't really want to slowly look through them all during a video necessarily. That's the kind of thing I tend to manage in between. I have 460 weapon parts. 344 armor parts. I've got parts. 88 bypass shunts. Yeah. I always have to use mag packs more than shunts. Oh, I'm always having to open things, but I guess my hacking skill's always been strong enough or something, right? I like that the guy that sells meat can repair my stuff. Of course he can. So it sounds like so far we haven't been encountering quests that I've already solved preemptively. But I feel like it's gonna happen.
Well, well. The only new folk I ever see in town are sublight runners from Fallbrook. But you don't look like one of Catherine's. What can I get you?
I'd like to trade.
All sales are final, unless you threaten me. I'm kidding. Don't threaten me.
Threaten me, daddy. Doesn't hurt to have a Drino, I guess. Any actually good guns? Nothing jumps out at me. Yeah. And she only sells parts. She doesn't sell hacking items, which is always the biggest priority. Did I level up again? I want my ultra rifle to be good. God, it's just not very good. It's just not very good. I want it to be good, but it's just not good. I really feel like they just didn't balance these weapons very well. Like, long guns, as far as I've seen, don't seem to have a reason to exist. Or the, you know, the single shot ones. Like, if you have the preference for that kind of gun, fuck you. Like, it does 300 damage per shot. This does 90 damage per shot. This is the thing where I just hold down the thing because it goes. Like 3 of those is as good as this. It's like, what's the point of even having the stronger one? Like, the automatic one is so strong that only 3 of its shots are as strong as the other one. And you don't have to deal with all the prep and aiming and carefulness. You just go for it.
We don't get many outsiders. You don't look like sublight. Must be freelance.
We don't get many outsiders. Yeah, have you guys seen outside? I'm not fucking surprised at all. Yeah, what is this building?
You don't look like sublight. Must be free.
Alright, well, you're not going to be very helpful. Sanjar. There.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me.
Oh no. When I read a document before about a guy that's too much into stats, was it this guy? Because I take it back, he's fucking crazy. Doesn't this make you hot? He says unironically to his secretary, who I'm sure is very comfortable with all this. That's very generous of you.
Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself?
I'm just looking for the information broker.
Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna.
If I have to eat one more weird science project passed off as food in this sprat-fucked colony, I'm going to stab someone.
Yes, that's it. Channel your anger. I only wish I could do the same. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board.
If you're free of the other corporations, why would you want to bring them back?
Surviving alone isn't as easy as it looks. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
Sounds like you're freer than anyone else in Halcyon. Why not embrace it?
Exactly what I would have said if I'd been paying attention.
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? It makes a rather pretty slogan. But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine.
So what do you mean to do about it?
Well, Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Ingenious plan? Don't get me wrong, I'm starting to admire your sand, but I bet you could overcomplicate a sisty sandwich.
What a charmingly roguish turn of phrase. Allow me to express my thanks at your confidence and assure you that my plan is indeed sufficiently complicated.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
This lady knows what's going on.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
How long did it take you to figure out you need to defend your city?
Not long, but the devil is always in the details. And the salient detail here is a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
You mean this Bolt 52?
Oh, yes. I'm going to be up all night with this. All those blanks waiting to be filled, boxes waiting to be ticked.
Try to control yourself, sir.
Have you any idea how powerful this is? Corporations have been toppled with less.
How exactly is this data cartridge going to help?
What a question! Bureaucratic micromanagement is the only way anything gets done in Halcyon, and proper documentation is a key part of that. For our part, a bill of liquidation/transfer Form 52 will protect our holdings on Monarch by temporarily assigning them to a pass-through entity once we drop our bomb on the board.
Yes, finally, the board will get their comeuppance.
Sort of. Really, we're just going to blackmail them into offering us a seat at the table.
But really, whatever gets you excited about the idea, it's definitely a firm middle finger.
I can get behind that.
That's what I like to hear. I have reason to believe that one of the other corporations is operating on Monarch, illegally and in secret.
Really? Most of the time, they do illegal stuff out in the open. Cheaper that way.
If we can find proof, I can use that as leverage to encourage certain powers that be to accept our Bolt 52 and reinstate us on the board.
What does that mean for me?
If someone is operating here, then Catherine's almost certainly supplying them out of Fallbrook. Perhaps she could be convinced to tell you where they are.
Sounds like you know her well enough yourself.
That's part of the problem. She has certain ambitions for Stellar Bay, and I fear my asking her would give her the leverage she's been looking for.
Don't get yourself worked up, sir. It's perfectly natural to have a healthy fear of her.
We really don't need to discuss this now, Celia.
I know how to make people talk.
Oh, I imagine you do. But as much as I love your can-do attitude and dangerous gravitas, Catherine handles all of our shipments. So it would be best if you could leave her in one piece. Is that how you people put it?
Watch it with the you people.
Of course. I didn't mean to make assumptions. Once you, subtly work out where this corporate facility might be, bring back proof of its operation. Maybe some nice letterhead. Or someone working there. That would do it.
Infiltrate a secret corporate base and kidnap the staff. Sure. Easy.
A foolproof plan if I ever heard one. I'll leave the execution to you.
I found your review on a terminal in the arms building.
This has been my albatross. The great shame of my career. I give MSI everything. My work, my youth, my left kidney, and for years, I was a joke to them.
Your left kidney?
One of the executives required a transplant.
He's lucky they didn't want a liver or a heart.
I thought volunteering to donate might improve my prospects.
You're insane.
No, I am a company man.
That's what you get for giving so much of yourself over to a corporation.
Oh, perhaps they were right. After all, what have I built? Stellar Bay is barely keeping afloat.
Perhaps they were right is the wrong response. Take it easy. You've kept the city running against all odds.
I hadn't thought of it that way. But perhaps there's something to that. Thank you for that. Was there something else?
I have questions about MSI and the good old days.
Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes.
How did MSI get kicked off the board in the first place?
I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws.
Do you mean that you initiated your own removal from the board?
Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2, but back then it was known as Terra 1.
Terra 1 and Terra 2. I see the board put their best people on that one.
Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names. After all, the whole point of terraforming was to make them Earth-like.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out.
But not MSI, right?
Our leadership at the time certainly wanted to. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up.
How forward-thinking of you.
It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out. Anyway,
Exactly.
we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms.
All right, Sanjar, you're winning some points in my book. All the company man fetishization's creepy and weird, but he's able to support the basic idea that everyone else should know, both in real life and in the game, which is that like abusing your workers and overworking them just massively decreases their effectiveness and their morale. So it hurts you more than it helps to just constantly try to milk everything you can out of them. Like, that's not how people work. So you just make everything significantly worse than it was before you tried to optimize people. So he's aware of that because of his data obsession. He also called it humane, so maybe he also thinks of it in terms of morality and not just optimization, like true optimization. But I don't know, whatever the fuck gets you there. Who's this us and we you keep talking about?
Oh, well, there were surely other junior executives with more open minds, though none of them had the temperament to handle the paperwork.
I take it your leadership didn't embrace your ideas.
No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2, along with everyone else.
Yet here you are.
Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI.
Must have pissed off some real big suits to get stuck with that.
On the contrary, I wrote lots of very important reports on behalf of top MSI officials before I was able to achieve this position. I moved forward with our planned reforms as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages.
That's low, even for them.
I don't think I realized how far they'd stoop. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently.
Why exactly do you want back on the board?
Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
If you can't beat him, might as well join him and reach into their pockets.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation.
They treated you pretty roughly. Is it worth going back to that?
I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
You mean the corporate data you sent me after?
Indeed. I've discovered it's much easier to negotiate from a position of power. And I don't mean to leave MSI or its people at a disadvantage. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations.
That's something. Reincorporating him into the board could be beneficial for the entire system if he is somebody who will try to reform the entire system from the ground up. Because people need reform. This is a mess. I'm not really convinced that the real change will come from within, though. What's the hazard clause?
It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous. For the greater good. Allegedly.
You sound skeptical.
Monarch may be dangerous, but it's hardly the wasteland the board describes it to be. Whatever the board's goals, the greater good has little part in them.
You don't seem to think much of Graham.
He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them.
Maybe you should give them a chance.
A chance? They've been doing this for years. And well, let's just say I know enough about Graham to be confident that he won't change. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels and pushes us further from the rest of the colony. He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
I want to talk about something else.
What can I do for you?
Just kidding.
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
What was that exchange about? You having money trouble?
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid.
Do you normally blow your money on Raptidon parts?
Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really.
Why are you buying so much from Sebastian?
So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else. Sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell.
Just ask him on a date.
I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work.
Wait, I'm curious. What do you see in Sebastian?
He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
Good to have standards, I guess.
I know what I'm looking for.
It's really specific, all right? You really want to be with someone you can't talk to?
You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny.
There are other fish in the sea, Celia.
Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like salt tuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up.
That's all I need to know.
Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
I'll talk to you later. Oh god, she's been spending all of her money on parts she doesn't even want, and then she's keeping them for some reason, and it's ruining her apartment. That's one approach, I suppose.
You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts?
Let's talk about Celia.
Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff.
She likes you.
Nice of you to say. I like her too.
She's interested in you. Romantically.
Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm? Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues.
Don't take my word for it. Spend some time with her. I promise she won't ask for a discount.
You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice. Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
And his entire business is going to collapse. His entire business has just basically been siphoning her income because she has a crush on him and is too afraid to say anything, so she's buying stuff as an excuse to interact with him that she doesn't even want. So nobody in this town wants his stuff except for maybe the one guy that's maybe dead now.
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say?
He said he'll go on a date with you.
Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia? I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on?
This is my boy voice. This is what boys sound like. Why is this affecting my reputation with the entire faction? That's really funny. He likes you, Celia. Just don't ask him for any discounts.
Not to worry. If I never buy another Raptidon tongue, it'll be too soon. Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and Mr. Nandi's giving me that back-to-work look. Anyhow, thank you.
He's gonna be crushed. Financially.
Thank you again for retrieving the bolt. It's every bit as complex as I'd heard, but I'm up to the challenge. Anyway, what can I do for you?
Always good when you've like pre-completed an objective. Sanjar's to-do list. Review guidelines for annual self-review. Select font for annual self-review. Format annual self-review. Schedule time to write annual self-review. Write annual self-review. Tell Celia she's doing an excellent job. Oh, that's nice. That's nice that you just keep putting that in your schedule to like compliment your coworker / employee. It's unfortunate how she's spending her entire income on nonsense, though. View data. For S. Nandi. A summary report on conditions within Stellar Bay. Productivity has continued to improve since relaxing MSI's old restrictions and making allowances for employee benefits such as time off for illness and personal leave. 24.9% reductions in shift length. 52.3% more positive feedback. Fishery output is up 15.2% this year, showing a continuing but slowing growth trend. Decreased gains compared to previous years are likely due to deterioration of materials and morale, occasional shortfalls in our supplies, and the gradual loss of personnel to marauders, 7.2%, hostile wildlife, 10.3%, and iconoclast recruitment, 17.4%. Reconciliation with the board remains a long-term goal, but the immediate concern is defending the city from hostile elements. Repairing damage to the city's walls consumes approximately 32.8% of our annual budget. The best solution would be an influx of skilled defenders and weaponry, but given the aforementioned factors and their effects on local population, such a solution remains unlikely. So their fishing supply keeps growing from year to year, which is interesting because Emerald Vale was specifically unable to can fish because they didn't have any more fish to have. So they were canning sprats and pretending it was fish, which is deeply unethical. Working slogans? MSI, our profit margins are stellar. MSI Saltuna, 43.28% more nutrient dense than the leading brands. Definitely summarize that to some sig figs that are less irritating to read. Stellar Bay, a tolerable center of commerce in a hostile and chaotic galaxy. Very humble, which is not what slogans are really meant to be. Notes for revisions. Your report looks excellent. The numbers are front and center, and you highlight our recent production gains nicely. One small adjustment, could you increase the page margins by 17.3%? I want them to match the formatting of other reports for maximum readability. Sanjar. You have to make the margins match or else MLA format or die. Otto, I've been checking your hours and you've well past due for some time off. Why don't you take a few days? You spend entirely too much time staring at that terminal. Sanjar. He looks into when people have not been taking time off and encourages them to do so. This is definitely better.
Thank you for your efforts on MSI's behalf. This company owes you a debt.
No worries, I did it basically on accident.
Here to do business with Sanjar?
I'm not...
Business with Sanjar?
Why did you say it twice? I'm not really sure what that means, to be honest. Doing business with him. I'm here to meet people, rub elbows, try to find factions that will be happy with me, because other factions want me to die, and that's like both neat and a bummer.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace?
We've got a lot of brass for a man doing absolutely nothing.
What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place.
Your neighbors probably aren't missing your company either, come to think of it.
And how should they know what they're missing? I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted.
That's definitely not what happened. Everybody who stayed here got booted by staying here, basically. Like, everyone else jumped ship. You miss the good old days?
Days of consumption and culture. When we weren't squabbling with the iconoclasts for lack of better things to do. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
I'll leave you be. Your neighbors aren't missing your company either.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
Oh no, It's a Wonderful Directorate. Whoa, hello. There's a lot of named people in this town, just in general, aren't there?
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you?
I'm Steve Buckworthy. Pleasure to meet you.
Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you?
Sure, another round, bartender.
Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger?
I'm told you can help me find an information broker.
Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head.
Sure, what do you need?
Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set.
I'm sure you got your wily ways. I could probably just buy one. It's probably not even a big deal. You mean caffeinoid? That stuff's just a stimulant.
Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
You won't find a better deal in Halcyon than our special one-time offer for a refurbished sanitation unit. Remember, if it's dirty, it's a job for Sam.
What in the... That thing talks?
I do enjoy it when Sam interacts, but the fact that the way that he's like basically not even a person means me want to probably replace him maybe permanently. I like his attack during combat, and it's neat having a proper like tank. But in town, you're like, I kind of want, like I like how much my other companion says stuff, and it'd be nice if he had more to say. But he's like a speak and spell. That's Sam. She? It helps me stay clean. Anyway, I'll go get those meds. That thing talks? That's great. That's great that they had a back and forth.